Among the list of people who don't get a day off when the weather is lousy is Erin Buchanan. She's with the Louisiana State Department of Transportation and Development. Hey, Miss Erin, how are you today?
Hey, I'm hanging in there.
You sound like you got A game, young lady. I got to tell you, you sound like you brought your best to KEEL, and we appreciate it.
I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed right now.
Oh, yeah, probably up all night, I'm sure.
Us too, yeah.
Well, tell us the road conditions right now as you know it. We know the usual suspects, but to run those down for us and then tell us what you're expecting throughout the day.
Well, I just peeked out the window, so I know that we've got quite a bit of snow on the ground, but overnight we've closed all of, like you said, the usual suspects that we typically close, either when conditions have warranted it or we're expecting them to. So, our first closure of the night, late last night, was I-49 North from MLK to Myra Murtis. And so throughout the night, we made additional closures on I-220 through Shreveport and Bossier, as well as what we call I-49 Urban, which is the section through Shreveport. We've also got the Benton Road overpass there in Bossier City, the LA3 overpass up in Benton, Lake Vistano Bridge, and then there's a US 80 overpass, railroad overpass in Ada Taylor that is closed as well. So some various closures throughout the area. I was just notified of a couple of accident crashes on I-20 over the Red River. So I think Shreveport Police is out there. They may have that roadway closed. We've not made any closures on I-20. We typically don't, to keep that, east-west priority route open.
I think they've only closed those on-ramps at Spring and Market Street, which that ramp typically closes anyway because it's a big loopy ramp. So what can you tell us about the bridges over the Red River? Shreveport Barksdale, Jimmy Davis, Texas Street Bridge. Are you guys working to keep those open? We haven't heard anything about those bridges closing at this point, but there's a lot of concern.
Right. Yeah, we work to keep those open as well so that there is, besides I-20, there is another path over the Red River for, emergency vehicles and people who have to get out and travel and get across from Shreveport to Bossier, vice versa. So we work to keep those open as well.
I'm looking at the temp here. It says 27 right now. That may be the high for the day. I would assume, therefore, since temps aren't going to get anywhere near freezing, that all the things that are closed will remain closed for a while. Am I right about that?
That's right. And so, and we're not expecting them to, for the next, 24 hours or maybe even longer. So there's not a refreeze factor at this point. There's just a freeze factor that's in place.
Yeah, there has to be a thaw to be a refreeze.
Exactly. And so typically, when we see one of these events come through, we'll see the temperatures the next day get on back up there and, the roads are clear within the next day or so. But in this case, it's going to stay cold for longer than usual. So, and those roads will remain closed for that time. But our crews are working around the clock too. So keep that in mind. We've got scouts out and they'll remain out. And so the road conditions will be monitored nonstop. So it's not as if we close them and let them go and then check back in a day or two. We're on it. So, but we've got to keep them closed because we all know, most of us aren't used to driving in this.
Sure.
That's the reality of things. So
we're talking with Erin Buchanan with the Department of Transportation and Development. Let me ask you, you and I spoke yesterday. The state uses a combination of salt and brine mixture as opposed to just sand. You guys have plenty of that on hand. Tell us how that kind of works to keep the roads de-iced.
Yeah, so we've got 1 million pounds in the district, which is much, much more than we ever expect to use in a season, thankfully, in our area. And it helps to, number one, thaw the ice, and number two, thaw it out quicker once it has been frozen. So, yes, we apply a salt treatment, and yes, the moisture may still freeze, but when we get to the point where it can start to thaw, that ice mixture with that will help it to thaw more quickly.
How far south is 49 closed? If people for business or for whatever reason have to head south out of Shreveport and or Bossier today, did we get as much snow? Are roads in the same condition, say, Natchitoches, Alexandria, etc.? I was looking at the forecast last night, and I think they got a lot less. Is that legit?
Right. That's as far as I know. We've not received any closures, and I've not been notified of any closures south of, the Shreveport metro area. In other words, really nothing south of the LA 3132 interchange. So I don't know of any closures down through DeSoto or Natchitoches Parish or anything or points further south on I-49.
Erin, are any of the bridges over the Red in jeopardy of being closed? I mean, is there one that's going to be first or second? I mean, do y'all have a priority? Like, if we've got to close one of them, this is going to be it?
In jeopardy of being closed, not that I'm aware of at this point. Like I said, we've got to keep some routes open for, emergency vehicles and those people who just have to get out for whatever reason. So, at this point, at 6 o'clock this morning, I'm not aware of anything that's in jeopardy of being closed right now. It doesn't mean that conditions couldn't change, but that's where it stands at this moment.
It seems that when more people get out and about, you're going to have more wrecks, and then you might think, it's time to close this bridge down. We've had
and that's why we ask people, if you don't have to get out, please don't. And people think, oh, I've got this, I'm going to be fine. It's just a little snow. But it's a different driving environment condition, than people are used to around here. So that's why we ask that, and we will monitor that. If it looks like there's a spot that, is really more, the conditions warrant it, based on, if there's been some crashes. Like I said, those crashes that Shreveport Police is working right now, I don't know the severity of those or anything like that, but that's why we ask people just to stay off the road if they can.
Miss Erin, one more thing, just as an aside. I don't know if you've noticed the high on Saturday is supposed to be 70. Just to give you...
Well, if you're from Louisiana,
just to give you a little update. So at least 49, at least for this weekend, I can count on 49 and the other currently closed thoroughfares to be cleaned up, wide open, and ready to go, right?
One would hope so, yes.